Jim. He's dead.
Hello and welcome. You're listening to Improv Autopsy, and I'm your host, Stephen Cadwell. This is part 2 of my interview with musician, writer, storyteller, and improviser Chase Padgett. You can find him at chasepadgett.com. There's a link in the show notes. And you can find out more about him by listening to this, part 2 of Chase Padgett's Improv Autopsy. Chase, what's the most shocking thing you've seen or done on stage, other than the Run and Early show where we were either sticking babies in bank tubes or feeding baby birds as mama birds?
Oh, man. Remember, so now he's called P Sparkle. In the long ago, he was called Pepe.
Yeah.
This is our good friend Rob Ward, who does a big sassy drag queen character. And Rob is very funny at this character and has been for a long time. Not a lot of people know this. I was his one-man house band for the first couple years that he was doing that character. And he like premiered it at Fringe. Beth Marshall, when she was running the festival, was like, hey, we had to drop out. Do you just want to do the show? Yeah. You're not even on the wait list, I don't think, but no one's going to say yes. It's literally tomorrow. And he's like, yeah, I'll throw something together. So he called me up. He's like, you want to be my musician, man? I was like, okay, cool. So like this incredibly flamboyant gay archetype character was then backed up with like nerdy John Mayer in a Hawaiian t-shirt. and they would just dare. It was called Truth or Dare. And sometimes I would dare. And I'd find myself in like Fringe or at like, gay clubs with like a hot twink with just a sock over this stuff. And I think the most embarrassing thing I ever did on stage, we were, improvising the whole show, and I did a dare, and he made an audience member who was very attractive, a very attractive redheaded lady, super my type, eat a banana out of my crotch while I was only wearing underwear. And I couldn't be... You ever put your hand on something that's both hot and cold in two places and your brain doesn't know how to process the stimuli? That's like, it was like deeply erotic and enormously depressing and embarrassing at the same time. And I just I could not compute. I remember it being in the Brown venue at Fringe in, I want to say like 2011 or something. And I still remember what she looked like. She had curly red hair, gorgeous young lady, about the same age as I was at the time. And I was just like, this would be awesome if there wasn't 30 other people watching right now. Yeah. That's probably up there.
And that woman was Wayne Brady.
Yeah. Rainbow wig. That was the curls.
Yeah, it was just you could only see the red in that moment because of what was going on.
Other highlights, I actually have done shows with Wayne. He came to Edmonton the year that I was living there. And I had actually like done a couple of workshops for an improv musical game show concept that he had in LA a couple times.
Okay.
And then I texted him. I was like, hey, man, you're coming to the Edmonton. I'm going to try to come see your show, get tickets. He's like, do you just want to do the show? And I was like, yeah, okay. So I thought it was like him and Jonathan Mangum, his go-to, stage partner, like doing a 2-man show. Well, Jonathan booked a thing last minute. So he had no one else on stage with him. And he was like, you want to join me on stage? So I did a 2-man show with Wayne Brady for 2,500 people at a casino. And I just remember there were a couple of, and I'd like worked with him a couple of times, like I said, but this was like just me and Wayne for an hour.
Yeah.
In front of people that paid like $60 to be in that room. And I was like, this is pretty dope. This is pretty cool. Another improv highlight that's actually not happened yet, but will happen in a couple months. I am co-producing as a board member for the Orlando Fringe now, a fundraiser. It's the Fab Fringe fundraiser, Colin Mockery and Friends. We rented out the Plaza Live in Orlando, and Colin's coming. And I've cast the whole show. That's me, Colin, Emily Fontano, DK, Reinemer, who you may have met in passing by now, maybe?
Yeah, I've met.
Okay. And Joel Warren, Robbie Padgett. And it's just going to be I think it's going to be a really, really special night.
Rob's part of that too, right?
Rob's hosting.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be really cool. Colin is the nicest man alive.
I believe
He
it.
is genuinely the nicest man alive. He came to see Six Guitars and some other stuff of mine last year, and he was weirdly at my wedding in Edmonton. Yeah, he's just the best, sweetest dude ever.
I saw Hip Prov not too long ago, an amazing show.
Yeah, I've never gotten to see it. How was it?
It is tremendous. It's a really, really fun thing to go and see, and fascinating if you're an improviser on a lot of levels. So
Yeah, like I don't know how much stock I put into hypnosis per se, but I have nothing but like full faith in his ability to make other people look dynamite.
yeah,
And I think it's such a brilliant concept because even if the hypnosis, like even if you don't believe in it, it does give them social license to play with abandon.
yeah. Well, and that's the goal of what he's doing too,
Yeah.
as he's up there, is just to get you to be relaxed and at ease enough that you are and um, that you're able to do it. So that's, I mean, what you're saying is exactly what he's attempting to do.
Yeah. Having people who've never improvised fall into a state where they go deep rather than wide and random
Yeah,
is perfect.
yeah.
Great. Oh, I gotta ask him more about it.
It's really a fascinating show, and it seems to be. I mean, we had a lot of fun. They seem to be having fun. Colin is brilliant as always, but so I didn't realize you're a board member then for Fringe as well.
Yeah, I have been a board member for about a year and a half. You know, I Six Guitars and other shows that I've done across the circuit since I started touring 15 years ago, I have really grown to like be sort of like tier one success stories of the whole circuit. I've never really done, I did Edinburgh once, but I'm much more at home in like the North American Canadian scene for various reasons. And the Orlando Fringe was definitely hit very hard by COVID. Every fringe was, but the ones that really got hit the hardest were the ones that were in like a time of administrative change going into COVID.
Uh,
And that's exactly just by happenstance what Orlando Fringe was going through. Lindsay Taylor was taking over as the artistic director. So her first year was COVID. And also, like other board members left and new people came. And there was a lot of shuffling on top of a pandemic.
yeah,
So, you know, and then the city like gave quote gave access to what the space downtown, but that ended up not really being the thing people thought it was going to be. Like literally my first vote as a board member, we all voted on whether or not to keep the downtown space for the festival year round. And it was very clear when we looked at the information like, no, you got to get rid of that. I have never been a board member before, but I really believe in that model of performance. I really believe in the artists that it draws, you know, at least the ones that like take it seriously and go, no, 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 I'm going to really do this. And I feel like it's a perfect like natural vetting ground for shows that could grow into a more economically viable touring model. But it's a great way to be like, all right, is this concept viable? Is this like the minimal viable product, to use a business term, but in a creative way? And it's been really nice to lend my experience as a touring artist and try to build bridges. Like the Colin fundraiser, I literally just was like, "Hey, Colin, do you want to do this?" And we got that ball rolling. I'm trying to build some sort of partnership with the Dr. Phillips Center here, so that maybe that there's like down the road some sort of like Dr. Phillips award for fringe artists, where like we get them, they keep a couple of showcase spots in their calendar specifically for fringe shows that have just proven themselves to be really, really above and beyond. And I'm just doing everything I can to provide the opportunities I wished I had gotten or had gotten, but not quite taken advantage of when I started doing this a long time ago.
yeah, awesome. I think it sounds like you're definitely an asset to the board.
Trying, trying. You know, there are so many things where I'm like, I don't know nothing about that. Like when I'm looking at spreadsheets for nonprofit reporting requirements for the state of Florida, I'm like, I believe you. Whatever you're going to tell me right now, it's very much like, what's wrong with my wheel bearings on my Honda? Yes, sir. I agree. That is what we're going to do. But then there are certain other times where I'm like, let me weigh in on this, guys. Like, We were in a marketing team transition. And because I've gotten far more aware and effective at marketing my own stuff, I'm like, hey, do we have X, Y, and Z? Oh, we don't? Okay, these are things we need to ask and address. So certain things, yes, certain things, no. But I think on the whole, I think it's also very mutually beneficial for me too to see like, as a performer, you only have most of the time like kind of a one way or two-way relationship to a presenting body, whether it be a venue or a festival. And when you get to look over the shoulder of people who are actually running it, you realize how hard it is. I mean,
Yeah.
even if you're committed, you might not be capable because you're hamstrung one way or another with funding or with other resources or personnel. And if you're super competent at running a theater, you would make 10 times more money running literally any other business because it's just as hard or easier than running a theater or theater company or theater festival. But people will actually give you money for it.
Yeah.
It has also allowed me to have even more grace and deference to people who I think are doing a good job, but other people who are not as experienced or get to see what I've seen over the time understand.
Yeah.
So it's been illuminating for me as well.
You now know how the sausage is made, as they say.
Yeah, and also like because of touring other fringes, I kind of get to go like, "Hi, I'm a board member for the Orlando Fringe that you know and respect. What's going?" So I get a little bit more of like behind the scenes information, which helps me understand like the greater landscape, and then compare that to the arts industry and the touring industry as a whole. It's a very different scope of things. One of the biggest things I realized, and this is very, I think, improv spirited. Early on, I think a lot of performers and artists think, if I get good enough at my craft, all of that admin, someone else will do that for me. And that can be true. But what happens to a lot of folks is that they get someone who's actually not great at that job, but because you didn't learn at least the rudiments of how to do it yourself, you're not able to identify where they might be lacking and where you need to coach them. You cannot go, my manager will do that. No, 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 no. You have to do that. Or you need to hire a manager who will do it better than what you could have. The whole idea of just like, I have people for that. You're the people. You're the first person. And you have to run your artistic life like you're a CEO and a shaman. And it's a very weird balance, but I think there's no other way around it.
I want to switch gears a little bit, Chase, and do get to my Proustian questionnaire.
Let's do it, man.
All right, Chase, how do you get into the proper headspace to play?
Connect to my body, whether that be stretching or some sort of physical motion, or maybe that's sort of a meditative body check from mind inward to outward. I spent a lot of time in my life being sort of disconnected and disassociated from my body. And as I have aged with more aches and pains, I think those could also be invitations to being more present.
Awesome. Chase, do you have a favorite a favorite ask?
Oh, I got a music degree. What's something you regret? I don't actually regret it, but
Right.
it's fun.
Yeah. What is your least favorite suggestion?
I mean, dildos up there, you know.
Yeah. Wait. I'm sorry. Up where?
Ayo!
Zing!
Eiffel Tower.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I just feel like I've done so many things that involve the Eiffel Tower or the Taj Mahal, like a big weenie location, like, or the fact that we're in Orlando and like Disney, we're like,
Yeah.
who cares? No one, we won't do that.
Is there a current flavor of the day? And I'm thinking back to, shake weight, tiger blood for the week or 2 weeks that it was that,
Okay.
what is there right now, is there a flavor of the week?
Any reference to K-pop Demon Hunters, I think,
Okay.
is a big pop right now.
Yeah.
Even though it came out months ago, I think it's still like so embedded in the minds of children and therefore their parents that
Yeah.
like any K-pop Demon Hunter reference, yeah, it's all about it.
I am shows you how long I've out of it. I've said this, I think, to a couple different people, but I never felt as in tune with pop culture as when I was performing more regularly, because you get those pop culture suggestions and then you either learn from your fellow improvisers what that is, or you look it up afterward because you're like, well, if that comes up again, I want to know something about it.
Yeah. Yeah, big time. I do think if you're regularly doing improv, it is kind of on you to do some pop culture homework. Like, okay, what is pickleball? We keep hearing pickleball. Let's go. You know.
I did pickleball in high school gym.
Did you?
Yes, it was part of why, I don't know. I think because it was winter, we couldn't go outside, and they needed to do, something for us to do in the gymnasium.
That
So
tracks.
I learned pickleball and have not played it since. But
Awesome.
yeah, it was a term at least I was familiar with. It was like, oh yeah, that's a a section of gym class. Chase, what's your favorite way to burn a suggestion that doesn't inspire you?
To just say it in the get for. I mean, that's the
Yeah,
old, right? Where it's just like a perfect example is anytime we do it in the studio and we're looking for a simple song that everyone knows, like a nursery rhyme. I don't want to do It's a Bitsy Spider or Twinkle Twinkle Little Star,
yeah.
much like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star or Itsy Bitsy Spider. You know, sometimes we get something like Amazing Grace, and we're like, well, I mean, okay, I probably would have preferred Itsy Bitsy Spider or Amazing Grace, but that I think that's a good way to do it. Or literally when they say something, you just go, no, no. Like anytime we're doing something adjacent to political, we just go, no, no, no. I remember a couple weeks ago, a guy, we were like, and what are some dialects from inside the United States? And a pretty young man said, the current president. And we just went, of this country, or Venezuela, and we just moved on. And he went, no, the only country that matters. And I was just like, ugh, barf. Your chauvinism isn't helping anything
Yeah.
at all.
Well, I mean, that does kind of help though in the no being accepted. If the audience turns on the audience member, then you're in the clear to, you know, be as dismissive as you want to be.
Big time. I remember one time doing a slice of life back when we were doing it as like a full 3-song musical scene. And I was doing the lead character who was like, I mean, a 14-year-old girl, and it was her birthday, and she had a princess mentality, and she was just heckling her own slice of life during the slice. And her parents and her friends were like, shut up. Like they're being funny free. And she was just so like insecure that she had to comment about the thing that was celebrating her. And the audience was just like not loving this lady. Just blah, 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 blah. So as her in the slice, I just went, shut up. And the whole room erupted. It was just like, yes, I got the whole room to hate you or to laugh at hating you by being you. It was a joy.
Yeah. Yes. Well, speaking of audience members, what do you look for in an audience volunteer?
Joy. Joy and playfulness. I think it was one of the gifts that I really got to hone. Disaster, which we both did long ago.
Yeah.
You know, that show was built on the ability of your ability to get people who are going to play and play quickly and follow directions and be like, okay, you got it. You know, if I don't see a smile or a light in their eyes, I'm good. No. But if I see just like a little bit of a, oh, yeah, just a little shimmer, I'm all about it. Even if what they're doing isn't particularly funny or interesting or smart, I will never, ever, ever yuck someone's playful spirit.
Yeah. Chase, describe your onstage persona. How is onstage Chase different than offstage Chase, if at all?
I think when I was younger, it was more disparate. I think with age, it has become closer to who I really am. I think now I'm more presentational and I try to get to the point because I want the show to move along and be economical in its energy and choices and words. I think the thing that's unifying now is an internal comfort both on and off stage that I think only comes with hard won living. So like not that just more presentational now, but otherwise I think it's pretty close.
Okay. What inspires you on stage?
Anything surprising. If something is genuinely a surprise without being cutting, I never love just like taking a dump on things. I really am inspired by yay and celebration and joy and playfulness. Also, music. I still love doing a good improv song, particularly if we nail a verse chorus bridge, actual like song structure with rhymes. It's the closest thing to real magic I think exists. Because I think a lot of people who are actually very smart, or at least considered to be smart and funny and witty in their lives, even if they don't have performing experience or chops, they kind of look at improv or maybe stand up and they go, I could probably do that. I could probably do that. But if they watch someone make up a song and it was good, they go, I couldn't do that part. No, that's pretty hard, actually.
They're right. Is there anything that shuts you down or takes you out of it on stage?
Yeah, bad audio. I mean, genuinely, like our eyes are very forgiving. We could do a show in the dark, but if something sounds like this, like no, get instantly die in a fire. Anything that's about, I just no, thank you. In terms of like creative choices, when people feel the need to tear other choices down or other people down because they're too insecure or weak, like I mean, I'm gonna be a little spicy and swear that's the mark of a weak bitch. If you have to tear other people down, you're a weak bitch. And I know that sounded weird for me to say because I'm tearing you down for being a weak bitch, hypothetical person. But like, life is hard. Things are stressful. It's chaos. Be kind. It's so much better. It's so much better. And it's so just deflating to be defensive. It really is.
Yeah. I mean, one of the core tenets of improv you would think would be supporting your fellow actors.
Yeah, I think that is the mark of not just a good improviser, but an evolved spirit. I think really improv in many forms of creativity, it's an invitation to see where you're at in your own soul and your own spirit. And I have certainly experienced this. The more you evolve, the more your craft evolves, and vice versa, too. You know, I say at the end of Six Guitars as my blues character, we were sent here to become the people. No, oh, it's weird to do it without being in the middle of the show. It's at the end of 90 minutes of material. I'll tell you the point. The pursuit of our art is what makes us into the people we were sent here to become. You can't hope to get rich. You can't hope to get famous. Best you can ever hope for is to just get good, or at least a little better. But if you do, and you do it for the right reasons, you learn more than scales or chords or scenes or tricks or jokes. You end up learning how to live a good life. And no music or no improv or no theater is better than that giving you that precious gift than any other kind of music or theater or art. Because we all come from the same place. We sing our brief song of creation and then we go back to the same place too. So before I go back, I'm gonna surround myself with good times, good people, and good music because that's all you really need.
In your estimation, what makes a good scene partner? I feel like we kind of answered it.
Playfulness and presence. I think I've always been playful. I think when I was a younger man, I don't think I was very fully present. And I think it was a function of marijuana, but also my own insecurities and need to just razzle dazzle all the time. And I just don't think I'm in that same place now. I think it's a lot better. I think I'm a lot better for it.
So what you're saying is what makes a good scene partner is just a little PP.
Yeah. I would also say, depending on the craft, precision is another thing in there. I once did an audition years ago for Cirque du Soleil, and because they were just looking for like comic actors for maybe clown roles. And in the audition, they talked about like their three pillars are precision, presence, and playfulness. I think presence is kind of table stakes for performing. So for me, I think a lot of creative pursuits live on a spectrum of playfulness on one end and precision on the other. Classical musicians, they're all about precision, have a hard time with playfulness sometimes.
I'll tell that to Victor Borga.
Genius, genius performer, creative force. I think improv, by its very nature, eschews a lot of the precision end of that for playfulness.
Yeah.
But I feel like through sheer repetition and building the root skills of whatever you're trying to do, like really knowing your Shakespeare structure for improvised Shakespeare, or really
Right.
practicing rhymes for musical improv, I think you can push the window of what you're trying to do in improv towards precision without losing the playfulness. And I think we all show up to that paradigm on a certain part of that spectrum. And I think as we evolve as creative beings through improv or whatever, our job is to take up as much of that landscape as possible in our toolkit and bring to the moment the thing that the moment needs the most.
Is there any advice you would give your younger self?
Don't throw away Boardwalk on the McDonald's Monopoly game.
Is that something you actually
I
did?
did. I did. I was a real little kid. And I was like, we pulled Boardwalk. I swear to God, this happened. And I made a big scene in McDonald's. And my mom didn't quite understand and got angry at me for making a scene and just threw it away. I swear to God, this happened. That did happen, but I that won't be my actual answer. This is going to sound dumb. I would say learn how to lift weights, actually, because I think a lot of the mental and physical benefits that it has given me would have been a profound tipping point for me in my 20s in a way that like I really needed in terms of like mental health. And like I noticed that when I lift weights now, my sugar cravings aren't around. My cravings for other things that are like kind of not helpful distractions plummet. But if I go a week without moving some iron around, those things are harder to navigate. And I didn't understand how internal that practice would be. You always feel like, oh, going to the gyms to get ripped or whatever. That's at most 30% of the reward. And I wish as a younger man, I understood the real internal benefit of the other 70%, which is all like mental and emotional clarity from putting your body weight on your back and then going up and down with your knees. Yeah.
You make it sound so glamorous.
Well, when you go to LA Fitness, look, I'm sponsored by LA Fitness. That's what I'm trying to say.
Do you have a favorite type of character to play?
Enthusiastic loser. I love an oddball who just still loves life. I did it the other day. I jumped into Forgotten Broadway with Mike, and I asked for an animal, and someone said platypus, and I was just like, okay, just embody platypus in my body. Like, what would a character actor inspired by what an animal that looks like three animals put together? So like a Danny DeVito, Paul Giamatti, but like weird energy. So like weird physicality, really over the top character voice like this, but filled with gratitude and was just thrilled to be there. Just like, this is a special night. These people, they all have awards. They got Tonys. I won a Robbie, which is like a Tony for people who can't read. But I love being here. It's like, oh, and there's a mentor in the house. I'm so grateful to have you here. What's your name? Tell everybody your name. Ed, that's right. And Ed had a special technique to motivate me when I was a young theater student. Tell him what it is. That's right. He would beat the living daylights out of me. Oh my God. What a lesson. What a lesson. I love you. I love you so much for just putting me in the friggin' hospital. God dang it. Like, I just love just someone who's like clearly got struggles, but is still just like sun's still shining.
Yeah. I think I know where this will go, but what's most helpful from the booth?
Oh man, that's a good question. I say that as someone who has assembled tech booths as like a real techie person.
No, you said that as Dr. Claw.
I know. Gadgets. The answer is good audio, but here's the real answer.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were going to say. I was surprised it took that long.
It's good audio, a good soundboard, but a tech who actually understands QLab. QLab, listen to me, my sweet, sweet improv babies. It is the best show control software ever made ever. It's not even close. QLab. The free version's pretty adept as well. Like, just learn QLab. Learn QLab. And if you need to make a show that needs like the higher end video or audio license, you can rent it. You learn QLab. The answer is QLab. It's so good. QLab.
Brought to you by LA Fans. What is least helpful from the booth?
More than one fart sound effect. I'll give you one. I might even give you two, depending on the context. But like, imagine doing a chair scene and you're 20 seconds in. There's no hook. We're just doing characters in the scene. And just like the cornucopia of farts. I would say that's pretty up there in terms of least helpful. Or like, honestly, the least helpful thing you could do as a tech is to check out. Nope, you gotta still be there, dude. We're calling for a blackout.
Yeah.
Friggin', we're waving hard, dude. You gotta black that thing out. There's a button for that whole function to do only that for a reason. It's real important. That I'd say that, yeah, checking out. You got it. You are very important.
Did the chair fart thing happen?
I can't recall like a specific moment, but I feel like it's enough of a theme to Mom, I'm home. Oh, God. All right. This is what this is about now. All right. Okay, great. Cool. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if it's like a specific thing, but it's happened enough to be in my body.
Okay. I didn't know if it was a specific memory. I definitely remember fart sounds occasionally from the booth. I don't know if they were ever spontaneous or if they were like, oh, they're kind of calling for like lifting one leg sort of a thing on stage to try to induce the fart.
Yep.
But yeah, it's a thing. It's a sound that is definitely something like, well, now this scene, that's what this scene is.
That's what this is. This could have been a funeral for my only child. and like, nope, now my dead kid's farting or whatever. Like, that's what this is now.
Other than laughter, what audience sound do you revel in?
I think it's a tie between woo, like you genuinely did something impressive, like freestyle rap or something. Or, you know what? No, I'm going to put this one forward. I'm going to put this one as the number one besides laughter. Oh, just a little like, oh, this really is moving.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm genuinely impacted. This feels familiar and resonant to my lived experience as a individual in this audience. And when you have a collective, oh, or, oh, that's good stuff right there. That is just as powerful, if not more so than laughter.
Yeah.
You can get laughs with farts. You can't get with a big old toot. It's not going to happen. I'd love to see someone pull it off.
Yeah. And my understanding is that in the banana scene you were referencing, those are the noises the audience was making until you farted.
Yeah. Yeah. They were, oh, look, he's finally getting some. And then I farted, and then it was raucous laughter and woos, except for the girl eating the banana. And then that was tears. It was just hardcore tears because she was getting the full brunt of the experience.
Right. Yeah. Is there a sound that the audience could make that would make you uncomfortable?
Like if they just shouted, "Let's go Trump," or it's just something's like so toxically divisive right now.
Yeah.
I would have a hard time not being like, not just be quiet, just like, I'm sorry, I can't continue this show unless you leave. Probably something like that, honestly. Something deeply uncomfortable. If they made a joke about like something truly horrendous, or they were trying to be funny. Oh, I got one. This actually happened to me. And I was like, what just happened? I was doing a 6 guitars in the Villages in September, this last September. Big house, like 800 plus people. And there's a part of 6 guitars where I, as the old blues character, kind of like comically do an interaction where I hit on a lady in the first couple rows. There happened to be a woman who was older, but very attractive. I mean, like, clearly she has been a smoke show her whole life. And she's in her 60s now. And I'm still like, damn. But she was also very attractive because she was smiling. She had joy in her eyes. She was having such a good time. So I start asking her, I'm doing like a, back and forth about her. And a part of the bit is where I'm like, is this your husband over here? And she's like, yeah. As I'm talking to her, I'm not being mean or gross or inappropriate. Everyone's laughing. We're having a good time. The husband is having an internal meltdown because he thinks the character and the actor, are hitting on his wife in real time in front of a sold out house of 800 plus people. And there's a moment where he looks at me, points a bony finger at me in the show, and says, "Hey, pal, watch it." And I'm like, I genuinely couldn't tell for a moment if he was having a problem or if he was just being funny. Because sometimes husbands will be like, "All
Yeah.
right now, buddy," but they're being playful,
Right.
like, pseudo masculine playful. Not this time, dude. He was having a real conundrum. And eventually, after I get done with that bit, he stands up and walks out. And the wife is just like, "Well, I get that's Barry," or whatever. And eventually, like, we go to intermission, and then neither of them are in their seats. And I hear from other ushers and other people in the house after the show that here's the backstory. She is very attractive and has been her whole life. She was in her younger days a Playboy playmate, like an actual like Playboy model. And he married her and is wildly insecure about it. So I would say like any aggressive expression of insecurity, and in this particular instance, it was, "Hey, pal." Like he put 7 W's on watch it.
It's probably the stroke he was having.
Oh, yeah. He's rest in peace. She and I are dating now. It's going really good.
What is the worst venue you've played?
There's so many, but they all have like, in certain ways, they all had like kind of a charm.
Yeah.
Like I can think about one time I did a fringe festival where it was like there were no lights, there were no sound. It was the back room of a furniture store that hadn't really been cleared out. They just put in more chairs. But I was like on a $20,000 chair that they were trying to sell, but that's what I was doing my show. That was in Calgary in 2011. I got it. I did 6 guitars in New York at like a studio theater thing. And it was a rehearsal studio, like a complex of rehearsal studios that said they were theaters. Well, they weren't. They were at best, a terrible black box. But the thing next door was still a dance studio in rehearsal. So I'm doing 6 guitars, and there's like a moment of the show where I'm like, I don't do it anymore, but one of the characters is telling the story about how he mourned the death of his Uncle Jerry. It's really just Chase telling you the story about how I used music to mourn my father. But then during that whole time, I'm telling the story and like tears are welling up, just this beating through the door. And like, a sassy drag queen is just shouting from this teacher, "Get it, girl! Get it!" Just completely bleeding into my very heartfelt music one-man show. "Yes, bitch!" Just stomping all over it. And there's just nothing you can do. And I did that for a month.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You never heard the story from the other side of the door, which was, we're trying to do this up-tempo number, and we just hear this crying coming through the door. It's ruining.
And we just want to say, you need to fix it, bitch.
Is that, you said you don't do that in the show anymore? Is that why?
No, I ended up putting a moment of grief in a more articulated song in a genre that was more in service of my father's memory, which means I didn't need 2 grief bits. So I changed it up.
I'm glad that experience didn't influence you too much.
No. But I do run a dance class now, and I do yell.
What's the best note or the best words of wisdom you've received?
Be consistent. A little bit done consistently is way more important than any temporary Herculean effort you might put forward. Like, everything good in your life is the result of small deposits over time. It just is, and there's no way around it. It is truly a law of the universe. I think I learned that in person with my high school band director, Mr. Maxwell. He always taught excellence in everything that he did, not just as a high school band director, but as a like medal winning power lifter. Like, this dude was ripped. He was so strong. And he brought that same sort of like consistency to his work. And I think it really modeled what a healthy man is supposed to look like. Someone who is steadfast and shows up when he says he's going to show up and do the thing he says he's going to do. Like, he actually got inducted to the high school band, the Florida Bandmasters Hall of Fame just a few months ago. I was there for his induction, and I got to speak on his behalf a little bit and how much this man meant to me. And while I was there, someone mentioned in the 34 years he spent teaching in public school, he missed less than 5 days of work ever. Every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, he went to the gym and he put up real numbers, like he never weighed more than like 165 pounds, and he could bench press like 300 something pounds. Like, he's just crazy strong. And you don't get to be that strong unless you show up consistently. And you don't get to be a good musician unless you show up consistently. And you don't get to be a good artist unless you show up consistently.
Yeah.
That's the biggest lesson I think I could impart to at least a younger me. You gotta be consistent. Even a little bit every day is a universe of difference.
Yeah. What's the least helpful note you've received? Or if you don't really have a bad note that was given to you, what's the least helpful note you can conceive of?
You should try different hats. Like, if you're doing different characters, like, do different yes. Like, moments the first time I ever did 6 guitars, there was a guy who was doing a show there, and his show was very good, and he was very professional. And he saw 6 guitars, and he's like, I mean, I don't know, maybe a vest. for one of the characters, you're putting on the things or whatever. And it's like, well, then it slows down the song. Like, I'm changing characters mid-song sometimes. So it's like, imagine how the people. Let me just put my guitar down. Living for today. Like that doesn't help the momentum of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just need to do the Saved by the Bell timeout, and then change your clothes, time in.
Let me go ahead and freeze Kelly Kapowski right where I want her.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's
Problem solved.
Maybe just like a vest or something. I think one of the most helpful notes I ever got when I was doing Disney Cruise Line, I would do a bit where I would do Rainbow Connection in different voices from like Disney characters and Muppet characters. And the entertainment director of the ship, sat me down and was like, giving me feedback about the show, because I was very new and I was open to feedback. And she's like, for that bit, maybe if you had like a video or like slides that show the character voice that you're doing on the projection. And I was like, oh, I'm not doing this good at all, am I? Like, either I am really screwing up Miss Piggy, or you don't know the Muppets, and I bet you know the Muppets. I am not doing this good.
All your Frank Oz characters sound the same.
Miss Piggy, I am.
Yeah, I was singing Rainbow Connection as Yoda for some reason, and it just wasn't scanning.
Yeah. So many, why are there?
I think if Yoda had a vest on, it would have been.
Yeah, totally. If I could have just put on a Yoda hat.
But seriously, Chase, the vest would have been the solution. You needed like what you needed was like a Girl Scout vest with patches of all the characters that you did.
Oh,
and then you could just
point to the patch.
point. Yeah,
you
just point.
You got it. Or maybe have like give the show director a laser pointer so she could point for me.
She could point at the character she thought you were doing.
Yeah.
And then you could compare notes afterward.
Nope. It's not Fozzie Bear. This is Michael Caine.
Yeah. Zoot actually says very little.
Oh, that's very funny. Oh.
Chase, if there were an Academy Awards for everything improv related, what would you be nominated for? Or performance related? We don't have to stick to improv.
Loudest singer. Riffiest singer, probably. How many times did we do a blues line together and I would get a note backstage like, Chase, you don't have to slather it, dude. Just sing the notes. And I'm like, but I'm bluesy. Buddy, we don't need it. Just rhyme cat. Just rhyme cat. It was so dumb.
If you remembered 100 years from now for something performance related, what would you want it to be?
Oh man, it's a tie. I would love to be regarded as a great musician and storyteller, but I think I would take just as much, if not more, pleasure from being involved with a show that I wasn't in, that really rose to prominence and that like changed other people's lives. I think like I've had my hand in a couple of other things over the years that I'm not in, like the Free Daps guys. I was their original like live looper beatboxer person, and before they were really like an effective street act, I was actually the one that was like pitched that idea to them, and we did it a couple times together. And then I was like, I got to focus on my shows. Y'all take this concept and run with it, and they did. And they're really good friends of mine now, and I know that like they've had really cool successes because they had their skills as a freestyle rapper, but they didn't have like the same package at the time. And I take joy in knowing that I was a part of that genesis for them.
Awesome. To close us out, is there anything that I missed, or are there any other performance or improv stories that you love to tell?
All right, here's one. So years ago, Wayne Brady was doing a musical improv workshop for a musical improv game show concept that he had. And I went through like a couple of rounds and kept getting asked back, and like the group he would ask back would get smaller and smaller. So I'm in this opportunity with Wayne in LA. We're in a studio that he rented, and other people that are there, like one guy went on to like win Drag Race for a season years later. Another woman, her name is Jade Nova, is like one of the most beautiful human beings I've ever seen up close in my life, and also had incredible impressions. She didn't need a laser vest. And if you go to her Instagram, it's like, that's Beyonce. You're doing Beyonce as good as Beyonce, actually. And then she's like a dozen of them. And then like another guy named Chris Lee, who was just like a phenomenal singer, who was Aaron Burr. No, he was a different cast member in Hamilton's Chicago cast alongside Wayne. And he was like, I don't know, 22 and just ripped and so talented and gifted. And then I was there, and they were like, hey, everybody, get up and like do your bits to show like, your skills to everybody. Now, I thought this was sort of like a supportive room where, like try anything, blue sky, whatever fun bit you have. So I showed up with a song I wrote that morning that was like a parody of Sam Smith's song that was big at the time, Stay With Me. But I wrote it from the perspective of a butcher, and it was called Give Me Meat. And it was terrible. It was genuinely bad. And because I'm just like, there's no executives, anything goes. I'll just wing. Here's what I had. I am 2 lines in, and it's bombing in front of some of the most beautiful and talented people I've ever seen in my life. And Wayne Brady, who is a personal hero of mine, that when I came up through SAC, people were like, you're the next Wayne Brady, Chase, because you're singing and you're doing rhymes and you're all this promise and potential. And I am bombing. And I get through the song and people are like, yeah, okay, cool. Just like that. You did that. And then Wayne, he goes, awesome. Thanks, Chase, so much. Hey, everybody, turns to the rest of the group. For the rest of the time, only do something you know is going to work. All right, next person up. And I just deflated like a balloon and sat down, and that was the timbre of my experience for the next couple hours. I ended up like coming back and being all right. Like he asked me to be on stage with him not that long after that. It was fine. We're fine. And he wasn't being mean. I just did that bad, and he had to move on.
No, see, the reason they reacted that way, Chase, is because everyone else had somehow done the exact same thing, and they were just disappointed to see you got to it first.
Well, there's that Sam Smith impression no one asked for. All right. I guess I'd go back to my impeccable Mary J. Blige.
They're taking off their vest that has him on it.
I did a sketch comedy showcase for NBC in 2014 that was directed by Mick Napier.
Oh, nice.
It was an incredible experience. There was like a big open call request for comedic actor video submissions, and like 1,000 of them came in, and 11 of them got chosen. And I was one of those 11. It was really amazing. And like other people in that group, once again, some incredible talent in there. John Barinholtz, Ike Barinholtz's younger brother, who is hilarious and brilliant and awesome. Another woman named Steph Tolev, who is a stand-up comedian who has a special on Netflix now. Another guy named Michael Hartney, who ended up being the AD for UCB New York and also was on Broadway after that. Like some real heavy hitters. And then again, me. And we're doing a rehearsal for an opening song that was written, and we're all learning our parts. And I like can sing. So a lot of other folks don't feel as confident, but I was like, you know what? We're gonna make it nice. I'm gonna sing a harmony. And people knew that I could sing. So then we did the song, and the musical director, his name was Matt. He was like, someone's singing a major third. Don't do that. And I just jokingly was like, yeah, guys, whoever that is, don't do that. And no one laughed and no one looked at me. There was a moment of silence, and everyone just kind of looked at the floor in shame for me. And I just went, I don't belong here. I do not belong here. This is not going my way. And it didn't. It was a very cool experience though.
That project really didn't go anywhere though either, right?
No. So like there was an original cast even before we got selected that did like their own round of writing and auditioning and presentation. Like Jet Evliff was in it. I want to say Blaine Swin was in that as well, or some, maybe Joey Bland. Like there were other real Chicago and Toronto heavy hitters that were in that group. And then it went nowhere. And then we got chosen, and we all flew in from different cities. There was only like one or two. Leland Bowden was also a part of that. She's on Apple TV's Shrinking right now, and was also on a Disney Channel show. Like people were really talented in there, and it didn't go anywhere. That was a big valuable lesson though. I've had a couple of times now where like that NBC showcase or workshopping stuff with Wayne or literally getting to the semifinals of a major network singing show. And nothing came from it. And that's one of the biggest lessons I think I could have learned early on, or maybe I already kind of believed it, but didn't know it firsthand yet. There are real opportunities where people give you a huge break, but most of the opportunities that come along do not break for anybody.
Yeah.
And it's not even like maliciousness. It's just like
Right.
the nature of what this is. And I've had a couple of like near misses or like prominent things that just didn't open up any door. Like that singing show, that didn't open up any doors for like anybody that was on it. Even the guy that won is like just kind of doing the same life that he had before, being his own singer-songwriter. And I think the biggest lesson there is like, it's great to be talented. You really need to also be good at managing your own talent and like writing your own material, doing your own stuff. The creator economy is real, and you just got to make stuff. You just got to make stuff, and you got to be consistent. You got to keep doing it.
Yeah.
Because lightning bolts strike, but most of the time you're not struck by lightning.
Yeah.
And you still got to figure out a life.
Well, if lightning bolts strike, you want to be out there flying a kite, right?
Yeah, connected to a key like Benjamin Franklin,
Yep.
and it holds the charge like I saw in a cartoon one time.
Yeah, that's how electricity was invented, right?
That is how it was invented. It did not exist in nature at all before him.
And little known fact that after that happened, he shouted $100 bill, which is why
He's on the
he's
$100
on
bill.
the
That's right.
$100
He
bill. Yeah.
invented that denomination. Didn't exist.
Yeah. Nope.
It was all pence before that.
Yeah, no one thought, yeah, everything was in pence. Like a dollar was 100 pence. So yeah. History is a fickle thing.
What a bizarre mistress.
That's it for this interview with Chase. If he ends up in a city near you, and he just may, go out and catch whichever show he's performing. And if you're in Orlando, go find him performing one of his shows, attending a fringe event, or performing at SAC Comedy Lab. Find me on Patreon for bonus content, all free, and come back for more interviews. Thanks for listening to Improv Autopsy.